Since Vienna, Pinto had been writing poetry in German. He wrote in Bosnian too, but only about Sarajevo. He even tried to write in Spanish, but had always felt like his nonna was writing it, everything always sounding like an ancient proverb. Bonita de Miguel, corancico de Figel, casati veras el anijo milodiras, and so on. Whereas light is everywhere and nowhere, it exists, but never by itself, always a garment, just as God is knowable only in the imperfection of his creation. Even darkness is clothed in light. Light makes itself present by its own absence. We carry the darkness inside and return it to the light when we die. That could sound good in German. Im Inneren tragen wir das Licht, da wir, wann wir sterben, zurückgeben der Finsternis. He put the laudanum and lavender up on the shelf. The opiatic ease set in, slowly, like a deep breath, while he studied the floor smeared with shadows from letters in the window. Apotheke Pinto. He should finally get rid of all the silly herbs Padre Avram had bought from peasants and collected for decades. Padre had insisted that all that junk be moved from the old drogeria in the Charcia and put up alongside the actual medicine, which he had derisively called the patrajas. But moved though they may have been, all those obscure, old-fashioned herbs were now dry and dead. Their ancient, cumbersome Turkish names, Amber Kabugi, Bechturan, Loglaruhi, sticking out in the neat alphabetical order of the patrajas which Pinto had established after the move. He didn't even know what they were for, those magic herbs. In the old place, only Padre knew where to find things and what the principles of classification were. The drogeria had really represented the interiority of Padre's head. All the books and the Pricantes and Segulot and Basme on the shelves and the burned sugar scent of the halva he had with coffee, crawling against the ceiling the clouds of tobacco smoke as dense as his thoughts. Those ancient peasants of his still came by the apotheke, sometimes clad in their sheep-stink clothes and animal-hide footwear, with their random ripe boils marring their mountain veneer with their untold diseases, gnarled bones and rotten teeth. They'd enter and look around as if they'd just disembarked from a ramshackle time machine, disoriented by the camphor smell and the serene medicinal quiet in the marble floor, awed by Emperor Franz Joseph's Baroque Backenbart in the picture they could not fail to see. Only Nonna Solomon's picture on the opposite wall, dating from the last century, assured them they actually were where they were meant to be. They recognized Nonna's fez, his furrowed brow and stately white beard. Even his kaftan adorned with a medal on his chest, pinned once upon a time by none other than a representative of the Sultan Abdul Hamid himself. The peasants would ask for the old Jewish Hechim, and Pinto would have to tell them that the old Hechim was dead and gone, and that he, Dr. Raffo to them, was now the rightful heir of this medicinal little empire, and that the only herb he would ever be interested in buying from them was lavender. But there was little lavender in the grim mountains around Sarajevo, so the peasants returned unrewarded to their thick and ancient forests, where they lived and copulated with wild beasts, and never came back to the Apotheke Pinto, which was just as well. Because we now lived in a brand new century. Progress was everywhere to behold. The future was endless, like a sea. Nobody could see the end of it. No one cared about Beyturan anymore. Amber Kabugi was probably something that summoned ghosts or killed witches and vilas, made your teeth fall out, caused a never-ending erection. Well, that wouldn't be half as bad. The morning had started with a cannon salvo, welcoming to our beloved God-forsaken city the Archduke Franz Ferdinand von Österreich-Este, heir apparent to the Habsburg Empire and Inspector General of the Imperial Armed Forces, accompanied by Her Highness the Duchess. Now there was another boom, an extra welcome to His and Her Highness. Only later that day would Pinto find out that the boom had been caused by a hand grenade a hapless young assassin had hurled at the Archduke's car. I can confirm from personal experience that we are always late to the history in which we live. Across the street, Haji Bessim had hung the imperial banner above his tobacco shop as per governor's order, and presently stood under it, his thumbs stuck in the vest pockets, the top of his claret fez nearly touching the black and yellow rag with the stiff